Street Beat. I'm Sandra along with T the Man and S Hacker. So glad that you all are joining us today. How y'all doing today, T?
I'm doing good, Sandra. What about you? How you doing,
I'm
Hacker?
great. How you doing, S?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Well, we're all down south here, and it's still hot as all get out. I mean, it's still in the 90s. I don't know if fall's ever going to come. I think we got another week of this. But, we got a lot to unpack. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been out, so we want to start talking about this Orlando police officer. T, there's always something going on there in Florida. Florida. This police chief, Roland, he had to fire Dennis Turner for arresting a 6 and an 8-year-old. I think when we all read this story, we were all taken aback. Apparently, the 6-year-old girl, she suffered from sleep apnea, and she had a little tantrum. The 8-year-old, well, their parent picked them up before they got booked. But this young girl had this tantrum, and this police officer at this school took her to jail, fingerprinted her, took her picture. I mean, just already indoctrinating her into the system. I couldn't be more furious about it. I really couldn't. How you feel, T?
Well, when you called me and told me about this when it happened, at the time, I said, this is Orlando. It's a little bit more liberal. They got a little bit more diversity in this community here. If it had been in one of them other counties, they would have just wrapped it up and said she broke the law and that's it. But the fact of the matter is, she's a 6-year-old girl. She's not at the age of reason. They throw tantrums, they kick, they bite, they spit. Obviously, this police officer doesn't have enough common sense to understand how a small child works. You do not arrest a 6-year-old child and thinking that a prosecutor is going to put that person in jail unless they had some kind of weapon. If she came with a gun or a knife or some scissors and tried to stab somebody, you could see that. But that wasn't the case. The case was that it was a little girl throwing a tantrum, and obviously he didn't know how to deal with her. After he took her to juvie, he took a young boy, 8 years old, and he had him in the car. He was on the way to take him to juvie. They called him back and said, hey, bring that child back. But like I said, the mayor of Orange County is Jerry Demings. Jerry Demings used to be the police chief there. His wife, Val Demings, who is now a congresswoman, she used to be the police chief there. So, like I said, it's very diverse. You have African-American kids being taken off to jail, and they weren't going to stand for it. The prosecutor, African-American woman, she wasn't going to stand for it either. She said, there ain't going to be no charges. It's going to be expunged and all like this. They fired him. They should have fired him. He should never be in charge of anything. He shouldn't be in charge at animal control, taking dogs off the street. That's how I feel about him.
Yeah, S Hacker, I don't know if you are familiar, but this particular officer had been accused of using a taser and in a manner that was, that got him off the force. So he's the last person that I'd want around a child.
Exactly.
I mean, when you heard about it, I know you were just like, I can't even imagine what you thought, man.
First of all, it's a child, right? And you're supposed to be a professional police officer. And in your professional police officer training, this is the best you could come up with to arrest a child, a 6-year-old child. And again, as T the Man said, it's a child. Their brain hasn't developed to that point. And you're 6. You're in either kindergarten or you're in the 1st grade, right? None of us at 6 would react differently because we're children. Children are supposed to act out. And again, with your professional police officer training, if you can't control a 6-year-old, right, in a school setting in the right way, what would you do in a life-threatening situation where your police officer partner was
try
in
to tase it to death?
Right. I mean, it's just an abuse. It's like there are some cops. Notice I didn't say professional police officer. I said cop. who think they can go around and just arrest everyone because they can. To me, I think it was an abuse of power, and it showed a lack of training as a professional police officer, and it shows a lack of common sense as a grown person,
You know, you
right?
almost got to ask yourself, as does this man have grandchildren? Does this man have children? I mean, there's just no reason. His excuse was, well, you're telling me that the child has sleep apnea. I have sleep apnea. How can he compare how he handles sleep apnea to how a 6-year-old would handle it?
This man is just ignorant. That's the bottom line.
That's it.
He's on a power trip and he abuses his power. We see that going on in Washington, D.C. by a person I'm not named just yet. So the good thing about it is they fired him. They rightfully fired him. Of course, the union will fight for him and they'll come up with some bogus claim why he shouldn't be fired. But he shouldn't be in this community. He shouldn't be in a position of authority to do anywhere. I don't care if he works at the grocery store and he collects the shopping carts. He don't need to be there.
Exactly. He doesn't need to be in charge of public, period.
I don't want him to be a greeter at Walmart.
Right.
You know, I mean, for real. So I know that we've all been taken by storm by Greta Thunberg. She's come to America and spoken at the UN in the General Assembly in New York this week. And she has basically scolded all of those people talking about the environment. But, you know, I thought it was really a great gesture. And I'm glad, T, that you sent me the article about Arnold Schwarzenegger. He offered to let Greta and her dad use his electric car. But, you know, Greta's just my shero right now, you know. I mean, people are out here trolling her. The guy on Fox News talked about her so bad that even Fox News had to come out and apologize for what he said about her. But this young girl is really leading the way. She got everybody last Friday in all different states to walk out, walk out of school and protest what's going on in this environment.
This is a young woman that is on the autism spectrum. She has Asperger's syndrome. I guess that's what it is. They really don't socialize well. And when they're engaged in something and it's like an obsession, and she's in her obsession is making this climate better, our carbon footprint smaller. So she has a healthy obsession. I was kind of shocked. I knew she came over here, but I didn't realize she came over in a sailboat, 15 days in a sailboat. Yeah. And she came over here. She had met Arnold Schwarzenegger in Austria for another climate, conference. And so, and then he told her when she's here and she says, if you want to use my car, he has an electric Hummer, on it. And they drove it to Toronto and they did, climate symposium up there. So now she's gotten into her sailboat and she's sailing down the coast to Chile to give another speech. And I think the most important thing she said was, what can you do now? And to help, she says, inform yourself. And by informing yourself, you realize how perilous that we are in the climate. And I understand it, we want this to be a healthy thing, but when you're fighting large corporations like ExxonMobil, Shell, BP, they're there to make money on fossil fuels. There's only so much fossil fuels left, but we need air. We all need air. And then you're putting too much carbon dioxide in that thing, and and the polar caps are melting. And as we can see that the sea level is rising, and then now here, especially Florida, look at these hurricanes that's coming. That's all got to do, with the climate. So, absolutely, smart girl, believes in science. And they asked her, "What do you got to say to? What would you say to Trump?" She says, "I'm not going to say nothing because he's not going to listen to me."
Absolutely.
Yep, that's exactly what she said.
And I applaud her. I really do. I think a lot of people have been, following her. Obama, met her and they gave each other a fist bump. She stood on the corner with the sign all by herself. for a long time. And then all of a sudden, you know, more people started standing there with her. And then she just started a whole movement. I just find her energy to be awesome, you know?
Oh, yes. It's definitely awesome energy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you know what? We always got to talk a little bit about R. Kelly. He's still in jail, and Valencia Love posted $100,000 for him back here in the spring, and she wants her money back. But you know what? She said that she wanted her money back so that she could turn around and help pay R. Kelly's lawyers. Personally, I believe if she got $100,000 back, that she would just keep it and just keep it moving. But that's what her story is. What do you think, S? Do you think that she gonna get her money back anytime soon?
No, she's not gonna get her money back because again, this is the hook. She put her money on. She put her money on R. Kelly, right? And he was freed on those charges, right? He was subsequently arrested on other charges. So the money that she put her, the charges that she put her money on, oh, that part is still good, right? Had he been free. The fact that he was arrested on different charges, no, you don't get your money back, lady. And again, as they say in DMV, next person, please. Because she's not getting that back.
I think she'll get it back at the end of the trial, but that could be years because
she'll get it back at the end.
Kelly has multiple cases.
Exactly. She'll get it back at the end of that trial on those charges. Perhaps.
Right?
I'm going to stretch out here a little bit. I'm going to say she's never going to get her money back. And from what I've been told, that when the money is returned, it's not who put it up, it's returned to the prisoner.
Right.
So, and you know, if R. Kelly gets his hands on that money, she ain't getting that money back.
Never, ever.
Ever. You know, and those two women that live with them, if they're around, that money is going to go to pay off some of them victims. So
they won't be around.
Contribute $100,000 to a victim fund. Now, all I can tell you that this woman, this is what you call a fool. She's not married to him, and he's not a relative.
Right.
She said she would never put up money for a pedophile.
Never.
I can't too.
Never.
But again, we could say this: he's not a convicted pedophile. The law of public opinion, okay.
I'm going to say this: he's not a convicted pedophile yet.
Okay, but we could go with that.
Yeah,
we can definitely go with that.
This is a lesson bought and paid for. I hope she enjoys it.
Yeah, that's a heck of a price for a lesson.
That's what happens.
I feel sorry for her. I really don't.
No.
She wants to be a hero
like that. She'd been better off taking $100,000 buying her some scratch-off lottery tickets. She'd be way ahead.
Exactly, but again, she wouldn't have gotten the publicity that she's got.
Well, she didn't get no winner.
Yeah, but it was all negative publicity. I mean, you know, she has a daycare. They threatened to blow up the daycare. She's got a restaurant. They put that out there, and people were protesting and didn't want to go to restaurants. So the publicity that she got, it was not good publicity. It did not show her in a great light.
No, but that's the nature of publicity. It's either good or bad, but people are talking about it.
Yep. But to be $100,000 in the hole, though, that's something to talk about.
Yeah, it
is. I've been following Amber Guyger. She's the ex-Dallas police officer who murdered 25-year-old Baton John in Dallas. I just want to say that she's on trial now, and I don't know if you all have been following it, but this lady here is a real sick lady because she is actually trying to make people feel like she's the victim.
Oh, yeah.
This man was sitting in his house eating ice cream, watching TV.
Right.
And apparently his door is open, and she said that she had problems with her door. So when she went to go open up the door, she didn't, think it was she just thought maybe her door wasn't open. Apparently she was having a relationship with her partner, who's her married partner, but they had broken up, and she said she had broken up because she just, didn't feel it was a moral thing for her to do, to be having, a relationship with her partner. but at the same time, she was sexting him on the way home.
Right.
So now she has shot and killed this 25-year-old man, and she is on trial now, crying crocodile tears, talking about she wished it had been him that shot her. She hates that she has to live with the fact that she killed him. And not once when she shot him did she shot him twice in the chest. She didn't even try to give him any CPR. No. I'm telling you something. This case is it is a hotbed because it's starting out. And if she needs to, she's on trial for murder. And I mean, she needs to go to prison for life. Well, I'm done with her.
I saw the prosecutor lay out the case, the opening arguments, and how she shot him and how he was hunched over and the damage that the 2 bullets did damage. He wasn't going to make it anyway. I think she shot him. She knew those were fatal wounds. She wasn't going to waste her time. But she had a problem. She knew she was in the wrong place, and she had to come up with a cover story. Why I'm in this man's apartment. You know, he lived on the 4th floor and she lived on the 3rd floor.
Right.
So, you know, and you know, I guess the hallways don't look alike. You know, they said you know, there's no mat in front of her door. He had a mat in front of his door. And to top it all off, her apartment is pristine and his is messy. Right. So
they said that she had you know, pictures and stuff on the wall behind her couch and everything, and his walls were empty. She should have known, you know, just looking that this is not my place.
Right, exactly. You know, and she just walked through the door, saw somebody, because that's what they're trained to do, shoot first, ask questions later.
Exactly. And she also claimed that when she went through the door that she told him to put his hands up, but the neighbor across the hall said he didn't hear her say that. So I mean, this is a really
really, you know, you're in your house eating ice cream, somebody come through your door, and then you got some crazy white woman talking about put your hands up. Well, and I want to know, I mean, most of the time when you live in an apartment complex, you kind of know who lives there. She didn't know that this man lived there.
Well, she was new. She had recently moved. I don't know how recent it is, but I'm assuming within
the prosecutor said she'd been there at least 2 months.
Exactly.
Yeah, 2 months. You should know where the hell you live.
And then, you know, the thing was she worked long. They said she worked a shift, so she got off at 9:30 and she started at 8 o'clock. I'm just gonna tell you, for somebody who worked long shifts, they get off at 9:30. That ain't really a long shift because you think you work 13 hours a day. I work 18, 22 hours a day, day after day after day. So yeah, you're a little tired, you're a little groggy. You go, you get some sleep, and you and the thing about it was when she's sitting in the station, what are they doing? Sitting there watching TV, napping, playing with their phone. You know, it wasn't like she was like standing there guarding somebody. You know, hey, she done messed up.
Exactly.
That one Texas Ranger tried to cover for her. So, you know, talking about she was in fear for her life. Yeah, when she was in fear of her life, after she got in there and shot him and then said, oh, I'm in fear for my life, that's the fallback line. It ain't working this time. They got a black judge, and I'm going to tell you, if they got a predominantly black jury, bye-bye, baby.
And that judge...
So is she going to walk?
No, she's not going to walk. That judge is not playing the radio with anybody in there. I was watching it on court TV, right? And she instructed, because it's open to the public, right? And she said, it's open to the public, but if you have your smartphone, turn it off. No laptops unless you're an attorney, right? And somebody, before anything really ever started, had a laptop. She was like, bailiff, get that, and you'll get it back at the end of the trial. Not at the end of the day. At the end of the trial. She is not... No, because she said that she didn't want any distractions. Because
they sequestered this jury.
Oh yeah, because this is a high-profile case. Because initially, when it happened, right, they didn't charge her.
Oh no, she walked around for a while.
No, they only charged her with manslaughter, right? And yeah, because again, they protested, and they got it upgraded to murder one, right? Because again, in these United States, I thought that we had a castle law, right? Your dwelling is basically your castle, right? And nobody can come through that threshold uninvited and you not be able to defend yourself, right? So the fact that she walked in, and again, she's supposedly a professional police officer, right? They're supposed to be able to detect differences, right? As Tina Man said, right? He had a mat. She didn't have a mat, right? If you know you don't have a mat in front of your home, and you go to that home, and that home does not have a mat, when you stop and say, well, maybe I'm not in the right place,
Well,
as
at least you
opposed
double
to
check. You know?
as opposed to walking in. And my whole thing was she wasn't too tired to keep sexting her partner trying to hook up that night. If you're truly tired, you're tired. You're not trying to go out, because she was constantly texting her partner, like, yeah, when are we hooking up? What are we going to do? Da 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 da. Right? So she was just going in to take a shower and go back out. So the way that they're saying that, like, oh, okay, she was tired and she was distracted. Yeah, she was distracted. She wasn't tired. She was distracted because she was chasing that D, right?
Ah.
If she wasn't chasing that D, maybe her powers of observation and to see the differences in these two places. My place doesn't have a mat. His does. When I walk in, this doesn't look like my place, right? Most people, regardless of your occupation, will walk back out. She did
Well,
not.
you know what they say from the police handbook, that if that had indeed been her place and somebody was in there, that she's supposed to have retreated and got back up. If indeed, she had walked into her place and somebody was in there. They said that that's in the police handbook. That's how she should have handled it had she actually been at her place. But of course,
again, we could throw all that out.
And, she's out there crying these crocodile tears.
That's
She's got her hair all flowing and everything. Got people trying to feel sorry for her, and I'm like, girlfriend.
But this is the part that I was watching the trial, and again, since she was a Dallas cop, the Texas Rangers came in to investigate the situation, right? And the lead investigator said that what she did was reasonable. That's what he said. That her actions was reasonable.
But the judge threw his testimony out.
Exactly. But again, this is the opinion of all law enforcement now. What she did was reasonable. And I'm like, how is that reasonable? That you enter.
He's dead, you alive, and you walk in his house. How is that reasonable?
How is any of her actions after she walked in reasonable? The reasonable thing to do would have been to walk back out.
Yeah.
Without asking anybody. Because you walk in this place, you ask me to hold my hands up. I don't care who you think you are. But I don't know that you're an officer. And check this out. I don't care either. Because obviously you can be sitting in your apartment eating ice cream while black now gets you killed. Really?
Yeah.
No, no. Walk in here. I don't care who you are. If you're uninvited, trust this. This is not what you want.
All right, we got about like 8 minutes left. So what else we got that we?
Well, it's impeachment week. It's all about Donald Trump getting himself in trouble again, but this time it's for real. It seems that the Trump administration has been the last 3 or 4 months kind of, asking Ukraine to help them get dirt on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. This information has been found out and was a whistleblower filed a complaint. The complaint never got to the Congress. They asked why, and now the dam has broken. And you know what? I didn't ever think Nancy Pelosi was going to get this far because, you know what? I was getting really upset with her. I just really felt like, something needed to be done. But I think this particular incident is got Donald Trump and the whole White House shook. They're in panic. And you know what? He is going to be impeached, at least in the House.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he's going to get impeached in the House. We know it's going to the Senate. Unless there's pressure on some of these senators in vulnerable states, they need 20 senators. I don't think they can get 20. I think they can get 10. I think they can get 10. But more so, some of those senators, they're going to lose their seat. Susan Collins is one. Max Sally is another from Arizona is going to lose her seat. Mitch McConnell, he's really hanging on by a thread. I'm glad when he goes. So, but I will say this: if Mitch turns, if he looks and sees that he's down in the polling and that Trump is down in the polling, let me tell you what Mitch is going to do. He's going to throw Donald under the bus.
Well, they said that he's gonna put it to a vote, because at first they were saying that they didn't think that he would put it to a vote, but I think that he will put it to a vote. And you know what? Fox News is really having a turn on Donald Trump now. You got Chris Wallace.
Oh yeah, well, those are reporters. Those are reporters. They're not Hannity and Tucker Carlson who are paid.
Yeah, but you know what? He's concerned about his base, and you know what? And that's his ally, because you know what? If he doesn't have Fox News, things can turn on him real quick, because they did a poll and they say that Donald Trump, 57% of Fox News people, they said they are exhausted. They are exhausted with Donald Trump. And if they continue to actually start reporting the news, Donald Trump may find that he's got some people in the Senate that he may get that 20. He keep on, he might get it.
Well, I hope they do. I hope they do. But I listen. Yeah, listen. If this caused them to, I don't know. But here's the one thing. I think they should censor him first. Then they should impeach him second.
Right.
And then the thing is, once he goes to the Senate, it's going to be a circus, because people like Lindsey Graham and these other conservative Republicans, they're not going to stick to the facts. They're going to go call Biden the hunter. They're going to call
they're putting the whistleblower on trial.
Hunter Biden and
I'm like,
they're going to put them all. They're going to put them all on trial, and they're going to muddy the waters. That's what they're going to do. They intend to muddy the waters. So nobody will know where the truth lies. So, and they're not going to stick to the facts. That's how they are. They play.
Yeah, but Kamala Harris is going to stick to the facts.
But when you're in the minority, Sandra, you don't get a chance to talk.
I think we all know that. After he's been impeached in the House, we already know what they're going to do in the Senate. We already know that.
Yeah, but it's going to be worse. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a shit show in the Senate.
Right.
They're not going to take it with reverence. They're going to praise this man. But you know what? At the end of the day, the fact that Donald Trump is losing sleep, I'm happy. I hope Greta Thunberg, I hope she get the Nobel Prize. And I want y'all to go on Twitter when she get it and go to Donald Trump's Twitter page and say, guess what? You must not be good enough as Obama and Greta. They came here, they got a prize, and you don't. Why?
So as Hacker, when you heard that Donald Trump was holding back $400 million from Ukraine so that they could fight off Russia, and he's trying to trying to get dirt on Joe Biden, what did you think?
Again, this is Donald Trump's MO, right? Again, he's a thug in a suit, right? Again, there are always people talking about, well, this thug, this. We as Americans, we look at crime differently when it's done by a person in a suit, right? The goal, the job, the basic job of everybody elected in the United States Congress, right, is to defend the Constitution. You cannot, I don't care what office you hold, invite a foreign entity to interfere in the United States elections. Period, point blank. That should be it. But what's going to get him, just like Nixon? It really wasn't a crime. It was a cover-up.
And they got two cover-ups going. A cover-up on top of the cover-up.
Right. They tried to hide.
You got Bill Barr. I'm gonna tell you something. The person who they better watch out for is John Bolton, because John Bolton gonna tell it all. He's gonna implicate everybody, because he's not like the rest of these people that have left the Trump administration. That feel like
he was happy.
He still needs to
I already know. They're gonna call Pompey. So he'll be. Yeah, he's gonna be a lot of resigning. So that's right. It. Donald Trump thing. Donald Trump is basically a Dutch mobster. A Dutch mobster isn't really smart like the Italian mobsters. They just think they're smart.
Right. But if everybody tells you you're great, why would you not believe that you're great?
I don't know.
I mean, you have all these people who are supposed to be leaders, all the cabinet heads, right? Again, remember that meeting where they basically had to kiss the ring?
Yep.
Right? And they all lined up and kissed the ring, right?
But anyway.
And that's ridiculous, because again, let's go with the facts. Your job, regardless of your party, whether you're an independent, Republican, or Democrat, if we as citizens are paying your salary, your job is to defend the Constitution. Whomever breaks any part of the Constitution, especially at that level when you're inviting a foreign entity, right?
Yeah.
You need to go.
Yeah.
I don't care where you
Absolutely.
go.
Okay,
You need to
speaking
be
of leaving
removed
to
from
go,
office.
we have to leave too.
Okay.
All right. So this is T the Man speaking for S Hacker and Sandra Tucker. Thank you for tuning in to Lee Street Beat. Subscribe, and we'll be back again. Maybe
Yeah, we'll definitely be back, y'all.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Peace.
Peace.